In today's episode, we're going to teach you how to identify the AD&D First Edition Dungeon Master screen. Once you know what to look at, you can make these identifications in less than 60 seconds. Please stick around. I'm AZ Mountaineer, and this is our channel, Old School Rules, where we celebrate the community of old school gamers and grognards who like classic RPGs, miniatures, magazines, and everything that goes with it. On each episode of What Is It Wednesday, we help you identify a particular item, whether it's in your collection, something you're looking at a gaming store, or online. This week, we're going to look at the Dungeon Master screen for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons First Edition. We're going to show you the things to look at, how you can make an identification every time to know exactly which version of this you're looking at, or if you see it, which we do sometimes in pieces, you'll know how to get the two pieces you need to put together and make a matching set. Hope you enjoy today's video. Okay, so in this episode of What Is It Wednesday, we're taking a look by request at the Dungeon Master screen produced by TSR for Advanced Dungeons & Dragons First Edition. As you might imagine, we'll take a look at the cover. Right here in the middle, great art by Errol Otis, one of my favorite artists for TSR. Here's where we need to look. The text that's in the box right under the artwork, the logo at the bottom, and sometimes on the bottom left corner, the presence or absence of text is instrumental in making the identification. Here's that text under the artwork. Originally, it just says this package consists of 2 durable foldable cardstock screens. And then later, it'll say the second edition of the Dungeon Master screens, and it goes on to have the same text. So for the Dungeon Master screens, there's really 7 different versions, 6 different covers, and 3 different printings. Mostly the same. Here's the key details on the cover. Again, the artwork, the logo, and the printing information in the bottom left corner. There'll be some change in the thickness of the panels, the construction of the panels, and in particular, you have originally what I call a 2+4, where one is only 2 panels and then there's a 4 panel. And later that's switched to a 3+3. Same information provided in all the editions, it's just the way it's put together is a little different. Okay, so how do we tell? First printing, super easy, no artwork. Okay, so this one only looks like this in the first printing. Here's the front and the back. And here's what's on the inside. You'll see, again, it's a 2 panel, and then of course there's a 4 panel that goes with it. And it's really information about psionics, which is a really odd choice for all the charts and information that's in the player's handbook in the DMG. Psionics is not something I would have thought to pick. Okay, so here's the layout of the 4. Here's the back with this fantastic artwork that's facing towards the players. And then other thing facing them are the 4 core classes: experience tables, fighters, thieves, clerics, magic users, as well as the spell chart in terms of how quickly you gain spells. And over on the other side are you have a list of weapons and damage, which makes sense because that's what faced the players. And then facing in towards the Dungeon Master's Guide, you've got remember originally Gary thought like players didn't have access to all this information, so you've got the chart for turning undead, you've got some to hit tables, other information there, thieves skills I think, and a couple other things. Second printing, and all other printings, you get the Errol Otis art in the middle, which although everybody loves to have a first, frankly, I love it with the art more than without it, to be sure. So here's the second printing. It's going to be the same except for the addition of that artwork. And there's, you can see the 2-fold and the 4-fold. Okay, so third printing. From a photograph, it's going to look exactly the same, but in terms of what you get, it changes noticeably. So here from our friends at Wayne's Books, which is a fantastic retailer if you're looking to build out your collection, and I'll put a link to Wayne's website down below. This photograph here is from his site. You can see here he shows us the first printing and a third printing. See how much thicker it is? And that's one of the you'll notice between second and third as well, the thickness changes. The other thing that happens with the third is that artwork wraps over the top of the panel. And then the pages are actually, the white pages with the psionics on it is actually attached to the heavy stock cardboard. And that starts here in the third printing. In fact, in that wrap over you only notice in the third printing. So here's the outside of the third printing, which looks essentially the same. But then you'll notice if you look really closely here at this side, you can see that artwork wraps around all the way around the border. And that's how you know you have a third printing. Here's another picture of that. You can see the arrows pointing at the top and the bottom to show you where that artwork comes over, and then the pages on the inside are over top of that. And again, that's only present in the third printing. So if you see this, and I see it sometimes mismatched, if you see it looks like this, you know you actually only have a third printing of the 4-panel design. Okay, fourth printing. The first thing you'll notice on the cover, if you look very closely, is the text under the artwork has changed. And here I have it circled to call your attention to it, right? This is where it's, in the fourth printing is where it starts to say the second edition of the Dungeon Master screen. And here it is zoomed in for detail. So now we also switched to what I call the 3+3. Remember before this was only 2 panels, now the cover has a third panel, and that information is shown here in addition to the Trompier idol art that's always been there. And then here's like the inside, right? You can see it goes 3 and 3. Same information, slightly different formatting, but the same as it's always been. Okay, fifth printing, several things are going to change. If you look there at the cover, you notice, I think, that the words Advanced Dungeons & Dragons have moved up to the yellow banner now, right, where it says for Advanced D&D game, and now it just says Dungeon Master screen in a sort of very basic text. And the other thing, of course, is down at the bottom, you'll see a highlight here, the TSR logo is now the Wizard in the Moon logo instead of the wizard. And here's the fifth printing. Again, you'll see the pages that the way it faces towards the players. Now it's 3+3. Then we have what we call the fifth plus, and the only change here is the bottom left. Remember I said the bottom left, sometimes you had to look there, and now it says printed in the USA. And here it is to show you exactly where I'm looking. In the fifth printing, that's missing, okay? Sixth printing, same cover, but again, bottom left, a little bit of a change. And here it is blown up. Now you have the ISBN numbers in addition to printed in the USA, and that's how you know you have a sixth printing of the Dungeon Master screen, which is the final printing before the artwork's completely redone in connection with the reissuing of the Player's Handbook, DMG, and Monster Manual. So if you made it here to the end, here's the little helpful chart I like to share with you. I think if you go back and watch this a couple of times and just think your way through the changes they were making, you can probably do this in your head without using the chart going forward. Once again, I hope you're liking the videos we're doing here on Old School Rules. I hope it's helpful. And if you do like it, please give me a like. Feel free to subscribe. We're trying to put on great content about at least once a week, maybe sometimes twice a week. And until next time, my friends, keep rolling 20s.